Hey guys, Furum here, and today I'm going to be testing the Jaguar C-X75 in multiplayer in Asphalt 9. I 3-starred this car a while back, around the same time I unlocked the Genty Acculone and 2-starred the Carrera GT. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and be sure to check out my new Furum Clips YouTube channel, as well as the Purple Team Discord. The links to those will be in the description, and I hope you enjoy these races. The Jaguar C-X75 is a rather forgotten car situated in the very middle of Class A pretty much, without any particularly amazing stats. The worst of which is definitely the acceleration at only 71 at 3 stars. This is quite bad for an A-class car, and so if you use this one, you'll definitely get pretty far behind in the beginning. The nitro efficiency, I would say it's probably its strongest point. Its drifting is okay, but kind of wide, and the top speed at 233 miles per hour at 3 stars isn't terrible, but it's nothing great either. However, I had a ton of fun taking this 3200 rank car out in Platinum League multiplayer and pitting it up against some of the closer to 4000 rank cars that I ran up against. In this race, we are facing 2 Huracans as well as 2 Apex AP0s. Now, the interesting thing about those cars is that while they are several hundred ranks above me, the Huracan almost 1000 ranks above me, they are slower than me by about 10 or so miles per hour. This is why I've been able to get ahead throughout the race. Also, one of them wrecked, but now we will see one of this car's distinct disadvantages come into play. The drifting at 3 stars, as I said, is not great, and that allows the Apex to nearly catch up to me around the final turn. Thankfully though, the nitro on this car was at least long enough to sustain it to get up to a speed where the Apex would not be able to pass it, and thus I come in first place. Now we are moving on to a race on Rome, where thankfully I am in the first position, and as you can see, pretty much everybody is passing me at the beginning. We've got a 918, we've got a DBS, we've got a Huracan, bunch of cars that are definitely better than this one. But this car's speed is good enough to be able to keep up with most of them, and that will become important. You see, this is precisely why when I tested the Genty Acculone at 1 star, it actually did okay. It was just because its speed was, well, pretty much as good as this car right here, but it was only at 1 star, so you had this really low-ranked car with a decently fast speed, and although, yeah, it didn't drift well, didn't accelerate the greatest, if you're able to get up to that speed, you'd probably have a pretty good shot. It's cars like these that make me wish that GameLoft would bring back a bit more often the car-ranked matchmaking back, which they actually did in a few different seasons a while back. It's been a few months, I don't remember exactly which ones they were, but they did test it, which I thought was super cool because they'd never done that before, and it's something I'd always wanted to see in this game. It's how it has been in Asphalt 8 for the longest time, and now in Asphalt 8 they still have that, but they came out with a second season called like the Master Season or something like that, where it's actually based on player rating. So that is more like the Asphalt 9 system. So there's just so many things that they've been doing in Asphalt 8 recently that I feel like they've pulled from Asphalt 9. Not all of them have been good things, in fact most of them haven't been, but the one good thing I will say that they did is make it so you can change your name in the game, which is something that was severely lacking from Asphalt 8 ever since the game first came out. They have had it for 3 years in Asphalt 9, and I have no idea why they didn't bring it to Asphalt 8 a long time ago. Speaking of Asphalt 9 being at 3 years old, it will be so in, I think, 5 days after I'm going to be uploading this, and on the 3rd anniversary, I'm going to be uploading a new garage video of mine. A lot of people have asked for that, an update to my old garage video that I made about 1.5 years ago. I did the same thing after 1.5 years of Asphalt 8 and then 3 years of it, so I thought I would do the same thing for Asphalt 9. I believe I only had 70 cars or so in the first garage video, and so while my accumulation of cars has definitely slowed down due to all the pay-to-winness and everything, I've still increased my garage size by almost 50% since then, so I think that's a pretty good achievement still. And now we are battling another Apex. Also in this race is a Lamborghini Aventador J and a Porsche 918, and yet the Apex is the one that I am really competing against. Thankfully, because of my superior speed, I was able to pass him, but this just goes to show the power of cars like the Apex in multiplayer, and I will be doing separate multiplayer lists in my best and worst cars in each class list video, because while in some of the classes there might be not that much of a difference in classes like B and A, where there are cars like the Apex, which might not be the greatest for events, but are extremely good in multiplayer, they definitely deserve a higher spot on the multiplayer list. And the Vanda, we cannot forget the Vanda, which is probably an S-tier A-class multiplayer car. It's insanely good there. Keep an eye out for that video coming out in about a week. So in this race, we've got some of your usual really good multiplayer cars, the Huracan, the 918, the Aventador SV, even an Aperta. But there is also a McLaren P1 who is just shooting ahead of everybody, which is just crazy. That car is rank, I think, 3,400, so he's a couple hundred rank above me, but he is just booking it. Very rarely have I ever seen somebody in a P1 do this well, but he really is. Mind you, the P1 is still a very good car. It's just not toward the top of A-class like it used to be, and therefore it's overshadowed a lot of the time, but this player was very skilled. I was able to pass him. I was also battling this Aperta a lot. I think that's the one I knocked down accidentally. He was probably slightly behind me, and then when I 360'd on the ramp, it got him a little bit, but I was finally able to pull ahead of the P1 after battling him for a lot of the race to come in first place. GG to him, because that was a lot of fun. Now, these next few races are going to take place in a different multiplayer season. It was some MP2. To be completely honest with you, I recorded these races a few months ago, so I don't remember which season it was in, but we have 2 Carrera GTs and an Aranera Hacera 33. Now, most of these cars were about the same rank as me, maybe even slightly lower, so you might think, okay, this should be really easy to win after facing all of those much higher ranked cars, but alas, it was not going to be the case. You see, many of my races do not go quite as well as those you see in my videos, and here, unfortunately, I got knocked down. If you slow the clip down, you'll see that we both 360'd at practically the exact same frame. He won that lottery though, knocked me down, and so I now have to catch up to him. Thankfully, I wasn't put too far back, and so this is one of those comeback sorts of races that I like to put in my videos every so often. By the way, guys, I will be streaming this weekend on Saturday, July 24th at my usual time, 4:30 p.m. GMT, as I will now be streaming every 2 weeks instead of every 4 weeks, because I enjoy it, and I know you guys enjoy it too, so why not? Coming toward the end of this race here, we're able to pass this Carrera, and then we go up the ramp. He goes a slightly different way, but I believe the way I went was faster, and so I'm able to take the first place, even after that knockdown toward the beginning of the race. For the final race in the video, we're facing 2 Vandas and 3 Apexes. Now, all of these cars were again pretty similarly ranked to mine, as was in the previous race, and of course they all just get ahead at the beginning, as is typical in this car. Now, this is something also that happens in my McLaren F1LM, which I recently maxed and will be making a video about soon in the Ghost Slipstream multiplayer season, because while it's a good car overall, in the regular multiplayer season it might struggle a little bit because of the bad acceleration, and then because it's not Ghost or Slipstream, it might not be able to get up to its speed or be able to pass people very well, but in Ghost Slipstream, the F1LM is an extremely powerful car. I'm planning to make my video about it in Platinum League and see just how high I can make it, perhaps even some races in Legend League if I am able to actually get some good ones in there. We'll have to see how that goes. So now it is time for my general review about this Jaguar. It's kind of a low mid-tier A-class car. It's better than the P1, but it's worse than the Porsche 918, and that should give you a decent idea of where it stands in the class. Its acceleration is definitely its weakest point, but its nitro efficiency is pretty good and perhaps its strongest point, and then its drifting isn't that great, but its top speed is decent. It's kinda like the Mazzanti in that there's really not much that makes it stand out, and therefore people kinda forgot about it, and very, very rarely do I ever see these in multiplayer. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you've enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt and other games content, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye!